I've had quite a few comments over the last 2 or 3 years about maybe issues with the Blackstone. The two primary ones are that food sticks to the Blackstone after a little bit of use, and the others were questions about cleaning it. So first I'll address the sticking issue. My griddle is, I guess, is it maybe 3.5 years old now? And I haven't experienced any of the sticking issues that other people have. And a while back, I had contacted Blackstone. I wish I could remember what it was about. It wasn't a problem or anything like that, but I had a question about something, and it was something that someone had left a comment on one of my videos about, and I don't remember what it was. But we did talk about the sticking issue, and they told me not to use any non-stick sprays, which, as far as I can remember, I have not. And I'm not picking just on Pam, it's any non-stick spray, because what it has in it, and I'm sure many of you already know this, but there's something here called lecithin, and pretty much all of the non-stick sprays have the lecithin in it. And apparently what happens is this lecithin builds up over time because you really just can't get it off. And it's not a problem unique to the Blackstone or even ceramic coated surfaces, it's any non-stick surface. So using this over time is actually counterproductive because it may cause things to not stick initially, but over time it's going to build up and it's going to actually cause things to stick. So don't use any non-stick sprays. Even Blackstone recommends just regular oil or butter, and if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I use tons of butter. And as far as cleaning, I've never really had any issue getting the Blackstone cleaned pretty quickly and easily. When I first got the griddle, I was taking the griddle plate off and bringing it over to the sink to clean it, which I found that it's a little cumbersome to do that, but it really wasn't necessary. So now I clean it just as it sits. And it's really easy, and I'll show you what I do. First, I turn the griddle on, and there's no really set temperature that I'm going to necessarily put it on every time. I just want it to get heated up pretty well. So let's just go with 375. And this is from the last video that I posted where I made the Velveeta and sausage. So, you know, Velveeta, this is some pretty sticky stuff on here. So it's stuck on pretty well. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my griddle spatulas, and I'm just going to kind of do like this and work that stuff off. I mean, it's sticking to a point, but it's not like stuck on where it's never going to come off. And I do this just to break free any of the solid stuff. And of course, this is going to be a little bit different from most stuff I cook. I mean, you know, Velveeta, it just kind of has a propensity to really stick because it's so thick. So it's going to kind of burn on just a little bit. So probably looking at this, this is the most that anything has ever really stuck. Okay, and once most of the easier to get off stuff is there, I'll just throw it into the grease pan. Okay, the next thing I do is I take a squeeze bottle with some water. Now in here I have water that's probably, I don't know, maybe 120 degrees. And here's why I use warmish hot water. About 3 times now, I've actually warped this griddle plate by putting water on it that was too cold. Now luckily, it always goes right back down when it cools down, and it's never damaged the ceramic surface. But I think if it happens enough, it could damage it. And so I would say at this point, the griddle plate goes right back about 98% to where it was. There actually is still a slight wobble in it from where it's not 100% level, but it's nothing that affects its performance or anything. So I don't want that to keep happening. So I'll take some water. Now I don't want to put too much. Put that down. And just kind of scrape it a little bit. And like I said, this is probably the worst thing that I've ever had stick. And it could be due to the fact that I've had the griddle now for over 3 years, and it does have a fair amount of use, because no ceramic coated surface is going to last forever. It definitely has a certain life expectancy. And look, you can see it. I actually did cause it to warp a little bit. Now it'll go back. I don't have any question about it going back to where it was, but I did use a little bit more water than I should have. I think it just went back. Yep, see, it already went back. But I do need to make a few more applications of water, so it may happen again. I'll just try to limit the amount of water that I use. And really, most things that I cook can just about be wiped off with paper towels, unless it's something that's really going to be sticky like this. And just adding a little more water and working around on the areas with the caked on food seems to take care of it pretty well. I can tell that the main part of the griddle plate that I cook on does have some wear on it now, because these pieces that are on the inside of the griddle plate walls, I mean, they're coming off super easy, just like when this was brand new. All right, let me wipe that down with a paper towel. Okay, so it's as clean as I need it to be, with the exception of a few crumbs here and there. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cook some eggs on here, and I am going to use butter. I always use butter pretty much with almost anything that I cook. It's a rare exception that I cook something that I don't put, I say all or butter, but usually butter on. All right, I think I got it leveled good enough so that hopefully these eggs don't run too far to one side. They're actually running towards the front. Pick this up a little bit. When I go to level this, it's a real pain in the butt. I'm using like pennies and dimes and nickels and stuff to try to get it leveled. All right, maybe that'll work. So like I said earlier, there really hasn't been a sticking issue, and the Velveeta was by far the stickiest thing that I've ever cooked on it. And I do have a lot of use on this griddle, because beyond what I cook on videos, it's still my favorite kitchen appliance of all time. So there are tons of things that I cook on it that I don't do videos on. So it really does have a lot of use. And just in case you're thinking, well, nothing's going to stick if you put butter on it, Blackstone actually recommended to me that I use some type of either butter or oil whenever I cook anything on the griddle. But yeah, these eggs aren't sticking at all. Okay, I'm going to pull these off. And I did mention in the last video, but this Farberware nylon spatula is excellent for the eggs. And I picked this up at Ollie's, and I think it was like $3 or $4. All right, I'm going to turn the griddle off. I'm going to take my spatula / leveling device and just kind of do this. Push everything into the grease tray. A little bit of water. And I can take the paper towel, kind of wipe this away. And really, it's almost good to go. I'm going to wipe it down one more time with some paper towels once I get done with the video. But you can see that the Velveeta was a little bit of a challenge with the stuff sticking. But all in all, if you just heat your griddle up and use your Blackstone or any beveled edge spatula to just kind of scrape that off, use some warm/hot water on it, and it comes clean pretty easily. So hopefully this answered some of the questions about cleaning the Blackstone E-Series griddle. That's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.